Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to Martial Arts Theater 3000. Jumping right back into my Bruce Lee movie review series. Hope you guys have been enjoying this so far. We got a lot more to go. Every time I look at his filmography, I'm like, oh, this isn't 10 movies, this isn't 20, this is 30 movies. So I hope you guys are down for this Bruceploitation journey. If you do like this content and you could just hit that like button and hit subscribe, it would really help the channel. A lot of my viewers that come and watch my videos, a lot of them aren't subscribed. So if you guys could do that, you'd be the real MVPs. The Bruce Lee movie we're looking at today is The Iron Dragon Strikes Back, also known as Gold Connection. This is directed by Kuei Chih Hung, and we really need to focus on the director on this one because he has such a distinct style. He did a lot of Shaw Brothers movies, a lot of horror movies like The Boxer's Omen, and that needs to be stated because you can see that style mixed with that style we've been covering, the gritty Hong Kong thrillers. When you add that horror element and it's very stylized, it actually makes this one stand out as an outlier in Bruce Lee's entire filmography. It's based off a simple plot where there's gold being smuggled in from Vietnam to Hong Kong on these refugee boats. Some gets tossed overboard, and Bruce Lee and his three friends, they discover it while diving. And from that point, it really begs the question, as you're watching this, if you found all this gold, would you keep it? Would you turn it in? Would you leave it be? This is the dilemma that they're faced with. And there will be some spoilers coming up here, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But one of their group ends up going back to get the gold after they decide to leave it because they don't want to get involved in this. And that just creates this snowball of these gangsters hunting them down. And as per most Bruce Lee movies, this one has no shortage of amazing fights. The first fight in the Kung Fu school is phenomenal. This is a top tier Bruce Lee fight, and it just sets the stage. The thing that's interesting about this, though, is this movie starts out, it seems like the fighting's going to be straight Kung Fu. Once the gang members start hunting them down, it turns into more of your standard basher. But I'd call it a late 70s basher style, not so much the primitive style you saw in the early 70s. As I said, director Kuei Chih Hung's style that he brings to this film, this really shows the underbelly of Hong Kong. This is not the glamorous nightclubs. This is just showing the gritty shanty towns, and everything's overcast and bleak and depressing. So this is very different than a lot of the ones we've covered so far, because in those ones, Bruce Lee is often surrounded by this nightclub scene and all this wealth. And this is just a bleak movie with those horror leanings and like a horror soundtrack, not so much like a John Carpenter soundtrack, but almost like Jaws. And I think the music in this one's incredible. Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil too much in this, but as the villains keep attacking and they're not sure who they are exactly, that creates another element that's interesting. And as it builds and builds and gets to the ending, and Bruce Lee faces off against the final villain, the final assassin sent to his apartment to kill him. And who is it? Philip Ko, who is a legend in Kung Fu movies. And as a villain, he comes off so creepy, and he doesn't even have to do much to achieve this. But the fight itself is one of the best finales I've ever seen. It has everything. Bruce Lee with a sword. It has throws. The entire apartment is just getting trashed beyond belief. The use of lighting, I think this scene is breathtaking. And not to mention the absolute brutal ending. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. For the plot and acting in this one, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. The actors do such a good job of displaying the stress they're under. The plot's very simple, but it almost feels like a chase film in that it keeps building and building, and the suspense builds with the amazing soundtrack. Bruce Lee isn't always the focus of attention here. It's a bit of an ensemble cast, but when it's Bruce Lee's moment to step up, especially in the fight scenes, he always displays that Ho Chung Tao star quality. For the action and fighting in this one, I'm also going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. The first fight scene that opens up this movie is one of the best in all of Bruceploitation, and the one that ends this movie is one of the best in all of Kung Fu cinema. Those two are more of a Kung Fu style, and in the middle is more of a basher style throughout the majority of the film. But there's also these slasher elements. You see some scenes that will remind you of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, but this was before it, so you wonder if it influenced some horror movies, because I got that slasher feel in a lot of these scenes. So if you want to see a really gritty, horror-leaning Hong Kong thriller, I highly recommend The Iron Dragon Strikes Back. I've heard some people say it was decent and so-so, but I've heard a lot of people also say this is one of Bruce Lee's best. It really stands out from a lot of his other films. I have the version from Gold Ninja, which has a lot of nice extras on it. It is sold out at the moment. You might want to check eBay, but you can go on YouTube to watch it now, and I think it might be on some of the streaming platforms like Tubi. As always, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of Iron Dragon Strikes Back, also known as The Gold Connection. And thanks everyone for all the support on this Bruce Lee movie review series, and I'll catch you guys next time.